15 years. I'm standing at the window of the shuttle that's flying from Titan main transport hub to the wharf in a stationary orbit around Saturn's moon. Watching the small dot getting bigger, I feel a slight rush of adrenaline. It has been a long journey up until this point, but my feeling tells me that this is just the real start. 15 years. This number is burned in my mind today. It is February 3rd, 2322. It's been 15 years since I signed up to the Space Navy, coming out of school at the age of 18. My parents weren't too happy with my choice to join the forces, but they sent me video mail today. I have no idea what it says, since today was packed with a lot of appointments, but I guess they are proud. Advancing in ranks throughout the years, they already admitted that it could have been the right choice, although times were rough and dangerous sometimes. The small dot becomes bigger, and in the distance there are already some navigation lights visible. We're approaching the safety zone. Will you please take a seat, Captain? Captain. The adrenaline rush intensifies a bit. Yes, from today on, I'm a captain. The ceremony was a few days ago. Seeing the ship grow in front of me, sitting there in the wharf, is the evidence for that title being legit. And it's not any ship of the fleet. It's new and experimental. Space Navy ship Astraea. My ship. Captain, please, the safety protocols demand everyone being seated. I leave the view and take a seat in the rear section of the shuttle. 15 years, and way more to come. I close my eyes, knowing it's the last rest for the coming weeks. Stepping out of the shuttle in the hangar bay, I see a lot of people waiting there. At first glance, there's about half the crew. A calm and very determined woman walks towards me. Captain, welcome on board the Astraea. I'm Commander Nishimura Yui. We're glad to have you on board. If you wouldn't mind, it's tradition when the captain arrives for the first time to give a short speech. Of course I knew about that and had prepared a little something for this. I actually started preparing about 5 years ago, and there had been a lot of changes throughout the years. Stepping out of the shuttle and searching for a higher ground, I jumped on a cargo container. The ship's still being filled with equipment and it's not ready to take off now, so there are more than enough standing around. All eyes are now in my direction. Thank you, Commander, for the welcome. Good morning, spaceman. Please take a moment to look around you. You will see new friends, crew members, people you can trust your life to. It's an honor to command such a beautiful ship, just like it's an honor to have this high-skilled crew on board. Our missions may become hard, and they will take us far away from home, but we can carry on these tasks together, and I'm grateful for this. We are part of Space Operations Delta. We are the crew of SNS-Astraea. Let's give this some meaning in the future. And with that, I jumped down from the container. The crew seemed relieved that it hadn't been a long speech. There are some captains out there who like to take this moment to talk about everything they have done. Even I had to endure that once as an ensign, standing there for 2 hours until our new captain finished talking about the sharp mind that you needed for fishing. But even though it was short, I hoped they could feel what I wanted to tell them. That we're a team and everyone should count on their mates. At least some of them seem to know each other already, which is a good sign. Still remembering the events from 9 years ago, I learned how important it is to rely on your comrades and have a functioning chain of command. I hope we won't have to go through something like that. Commander Nishimura brings me to the bridge to introduce me to the commanding officers on board. After a long day of meetings with almost every single department on board and making sure that our equipment and crew are taken care of, I decide to take a rest. Leaving the conference room and heading to the crew quarters, I hear some rambling in the corridor. Hello? A hat pops out where a wall plate is missing. Hello there! Is the answer. You must be Chief Kuipers, right? We didn't have the chance to talk today, but first please tell me, what are you doing in the wall? He's trying a little bit too hard to come out there and mumble some Dutch curse words when he finally manages to stand in front of me. Yep, Chief Dan Kuipers, your quartermaster at your service. Some call me Pika, it's short for my nickname, Picolito. Chief Kuipers is fine. So what is a quartermaster doing in these walls? Well, quartermaster is only one part of my job. I try to optimize the doors coding so they operate more reliably and efficiently. We had some bruises already because of these formaldehyde doors. To answer your question, I'm also helping the engineers with the software wherever I can. I tell him to continue and that I would like to talk about the needs of the crew later this week before we leave. Not the first surprise today, but a very welcome one. Although every crew member has got a main purview, they are also doing other tasks that they are capable of. When you're out in space and the people around you are the only people you can count on, it's pretty reasonable to leverage all their skills. Some crew members were carefully selected for their different abilities, some were sure to surprise me on board. Next week, we're heading out to Jupiter 3 station on Ganymede to get the rest of the crew. There's a research center where some scientists will join the crew. Although we are a ship operating for the Space Navy, our missions are kind of mixed. Chief Engineer Basil Higgins told me about the additional scientific sensors we have on board. A lot of them are experimental, and our job is to max out their potential. Although Chief Higgins tried to explain some of these sensors, I think it will be better to just support the scientists and let them take care of the equipment themselves. Days go by, and the crew does an amazing job, so that we even have some time to get additional gear ready. 7 days after I set foot on the Astraea, this beautiful ship can finally leave the harbor for its first mission, to pick up our last crew members. It's my first time trying the captain's chair. I've been avoiding it the whole week, since it's so surreal to have this command. In the morning, the whole crew is operable, and everyone is excited to leave. For some of the crew members, it's just another mission, but we also have some new ensigns that will have their first practical lessons on board, just like some others who have never had a position on a ship. Lieutenant, release docking clamps. Clunk. Maneuver engines 25% forward and bring us out here gently. While the Astraea starts to move for the first time after only theoretical practice and some engine tests, all crew members who could make it to a window are watching the dock passing by. The engineers and workers from the dock are waving from the station, wishing this ship, which they have worked on for 1.5 years, Godspeed. Just at this moment, the sun wants to take a look too, and appears behind Titan. What a nice moment. It practically seems staged. On we go. First to some function checks near Saturn rings, and then off to Ganymede. Lieutenant Commander, please tell me again about the specifications of our weapon system before we shoot down some asteroids. Lieutenant Commander Winfried Snyder, my chief weapons officer at the bridge, is known for his detail obsession, but at the same time he can quickly adapt to new situations, which make him a perfect fit for the Astraea, since we are on an experimental mission with no idea what might happen. Sure, Captain. For short-range defense, we got Mark III proton beams. The latest version increased the operating range. 8 are positioned all around the ship for a 360-degree missile and asteroid defense. We got ourselves some missiles too. 2 launchers at the front have the regular antimatter missiles with high-speed tracking and non-debris self-destruction. If they run out of fuel, they self-destruct after 30 seconds so that no missiles or debris travel through space. And our main weapon is an experimental railgun. It shoots a titanium alloy that can be formed into different shapes before the shot. That way, we're able to change how the railgun affects the target, from a very thin rod to a ball shaped and everything in between. That way, we can cause extreme pressure or large-scale damage. This new railgun is the first of its kind, and although the military use is obvious, we plan to use it for archaeological experiments. Before the scientists are on board, we are not able to operate it, because the titanium alloy has to be produced right before its use. That's why the Astraea has its own smelter on board and can produce the ammunition itself with the right ingredients. At least we will be able to test power functionality without ammunition. Lieutenant, set course to our practice area. Full speed ahead. Let's make use of our inertia dampers and artificial gravity. Since we have some time before we arrive at the Navy practice ground around Saturn, I decide to talk to our second quartermaster about some changes in the meeting room. Before departure, I had almost no time to speak to him, not more than just a few words, and I thought it could be a nice occasion to get to know each other better. When he enters the room, I understand why his second task on board is within the security team. He's a mountain of a man with sharp eyes and an aura of determination. Hello, Chief Oroshenko. Thank you for taking your time. Captain. He nods. I want to get to know my crew a bit more, so maybe we can use this occasion for it. Well, I heard you were a Sambo instructor at the academy. Yes, Captain. You have even won some tournaments. Impressive. He's not very talkative. I decided to try some other topics. So I heard that the crew calls you by a nickname. It's Beats, am I right? No, Captain. Chief is fine. It's not Beats? It's definitely not Beats. I didn't pick him for the crew because of his small talk abilities, so I left it there and told him the changes that needed to be done for better productivity in the conference room. He noted them and assured me they would be done before we arrived at the Jupiter 3 station. While approaching the Navy test area around Saturn, the SNS-Astraea works like a charm. Engine runs smooth with this nice little vibration that the inertia dampers can't fully compensate. The captain's chair has got the essential pieces of information on 2 screens, left and right, so that decision making is less guesswork like it was in the early days in space. Everything's clean and shiny, like a new car, ready to be used. All in all, this new ship type is classy. Lieutenant Simmons, open a ship-wide channel. Lieutenant Jessica Simmons is a communication officer at the bridge. It's her first time on a spaceship. She's the former communications officer at Navy Outpost Tranquility on Mars. She wrote to me directly and asked for this position, and since she's got the best references, answering her was what's called a no-brainer. Channel open, Captain. Astraea, this is your captain speaking. We are approaching Navy Test Area Saturn. Man tactical stations and get ready for weapons testing. Far enough from the strong gravity around Saturn, we aim at small to medium-sized rocks in Saturn rings. That way we can ensure that targeting works and the debris from the explosions stays inside the rings with as little impact with the rings as possible. Since there are millions or even billions of rocks in the outer parts of the rings, a few less won't impact its overall structure. Commander, target a medium-sized asteroid with missiles. Target locked on and missiles are ready. Fire. The first rocket ever shot from this ship takes off, accelerating fast with its light blue-colored trail from its boosters. It just takes a few seconds for it to reach the target and to blow up in a bluish-orange blast. Some fragments are heading in the direction of the ship. Good shot. Now load the proton beams and shoot down these fragments. One by one, the proton beams lock on and vaporize the last remnants of our first test. It is a satisfying feeling to see everything in action and working as intended. Commander, any reports from other stations? Each station reports that the parameters are within the normal range. Did you see the small power spike during the third proton shot? That could possibly be a calibration issue. I will put this on the repair list. A few more rockets on smaller targets are fired successfully. Captain, all parameters nominal. We are ready for the railgun test. Helmsman, bring us a bit further away from the rings to the edge of the testing area. Yes, sir. I call the engine room. Chief Higgins, how are the engines working? Are you ready for the last stress test?
So far so good, Captain. This monster works exquisitely. Ready when you are.
Then give it a go. Commander, run test sequence Alpha for the railgun. A humming sound traversed the Astraea. The railgun is hidden inside the ship and the engineers had to find a way to reduce heat and reroute heat ventilation. A lot of mechanisms need to work properly for it to function. The humming sound ends. End of test Alpha. Some outliers, but everything in the green, says Lieutenant Commander Snyder. Then proceed with sequence Beta. The moment the command is spoken, a shock hits the Astraea. Rumbling, heavy vibrations. The helmsman lieutenant is already at work to compensate for the drift. Communications, which also monitors the ship's status, reports that the hull is intact. No impacts, but we're losing energy. Commander, what's going on? I enabled test protocol Beta, and the railgun immediately spiked in power consumption, Captain. I can't shut it down. A channel is open to the engine room. Chief, can you restart the system and turn off the railgun energy?
We are already working on it, Cap.
In all this trouble, my mind has time to think of that nickname for a split second and if it's correct to answer like that. Before a decision is made, the next message interrupts my thoughts. Captain, our sensors show a small ship appearing from inside the rings. A ship? Here? At the weapons test area? Which kind of ship? I can't say more. The power spike has damaged some of our more sensible sensors, but they set course for the Astraea. The ship is still rumbling, the screens start flickering, and an unidentified ship is approaching. Nice first day. Sir, we're getting called. Maybe it's another Navy ship that did some unscheduled tests here. Please open a channel. Channel open. There's cracking on the line before the reply. Seems like this is your unfortunate day. Discard your rockets into space, and we will spare your lives. You have 1 minute to answer. This is Captain Bardister, for the record. I have never heard of him before, but he sounds serious. An attack at one of the Navy test areas is very uncommon, even extremely dangerous for everyone who is trying it. They must have been prepared for all this. Captain, our weapons won't be ready in the next minute, and most of our power is down. Chief Higgins is restarting the systems, but that will take up to 15 minutes. I feel like this was better planned than thought, but there's no time to think about it right now. Never would I have guessed that my first day out in space as a captain could be that eventful. What about the secondary systems? Offline. Not the best situation to be in. In commando training, you get used to situations like this, but here, it's the real thing. There is no practice, and the crew demands the right decisions. It's the first challenge, and it doesn't matter if it's day 1 or 100 days into this, but I got a plan that could work. Commander, if you prioritize a single proton beam, can you get it online? That could work. Do it, fast. We have 30 seconds to answer. Maybe I can get some more seconds. Simmons, call that ship in 15 seconds. I got an idea. Snyder, just as I hoped, acts fast and focused. He's switching between consoles back and forth, his eyes rushing over the monitors. My confidence is growing that he was the right choice. Let's try to find them mentally. When the proton is online, send some energy to the other 7, even if it's just a little. The comms channel opens and Captain Barrister starts.
Now, Captain, what's your answer?
I have no idea how you managed to infiltrate the wharf and sabotage us. But you did a poor job. Our scanners took a hit and we thought you were a Navy ship. That's why we didn't shoot you. But if you scan us, you can see that they're online. To ensure our position, here's a message. Commander, shoot their bow. The single online proton beam locks on the other ship and shoots. The impact can be heard over the comms. The line closes. At the bridge of the pirate ship. Captain Bargister is visibly surprised to get hit by the Astraea. Shouldn't all energy be down after that test procedure? The bug they installed at the wharf should have made this new ship an easy target. Because the railgun was built into a ship for the first time, the malware was not too obvious for the engineers to find.
Scan their weapons, now!
Shouts the captain to his crew.
Cap Barger, I can't detect power at all their proton beams. How is that possible?
Bargister knows he can't keep up with an operable Navy ship. He fought long enough on their side to know about the capabilities of these ships. Since he left the Navy, he has grown in anger about everything related to them. Not only did the Navy steal years of his life, but they were guilty for the deaths of his wife and son in his eyes. But he cannot fight this frigate head first. With a different strategy maybe, but it's too late for that. The plan was perfect. He's still asking himself how it went wrong.
Bargo, we can't fight them like that. Even if they can't move, they've got 360-degree defenses. We can get new missiles from somewhere else.
I know, but not these antimatter bad boys, which don't leave traces. Damn it! Set course back into the rings and then get out of here. Open the channel. Meanwhile on the Astraea. Captain, the proton beam got a short circuit after the shot. That means we're pretty much defenseless. Keep energy flowing through these lines. Don't let them have a chance to think twice. Let's hope they don't know better. All defenses are down again. A thorough scan could reveal that, but these guys might not be that calm after the first shot. How did they even manipulate the secondary systems? We need to work on that later. We have one last chance to show some strength, but then we will need to comply and hope for the best. Commander, is it possible to put more energy into the second forward proton to appear as if we would fire? Captain, they're calling us again. Open the channel.
I'm impressed, Captain. Next time you won't have that much luck. We'll see each other again.
Bargister cuts the line and the ship turns around and leaves into Saturn rings. Next time he will be better prepared. He swears that to himself. The small ship would have been enough for a defenseless capture, but a single laser can do just that much. Without new rockets they can't fight this kind of opponent. Hiding behind rocks, never again. The Free Space League could have used these missiles, but next time they won't try to snitch them, they will fight for them. The next closest Navy ship, a corvette, entered the testing area around 20 minutes later, offering some help. About 2 hours after the incident, all systems are back online. The raygun is still shut down. That's something the scientific crew has to take a look at. Alone in my room, writing the report about this encounter, I think about Bargister. Maybe we met somewhere, but I have no idea where. Anyways, the crew worked perfectly, and I'm glad about everyone on board. The doorbell rings. Come in. Commander Nishimura enters the room. Captain, may I speak openly? Commander, yes, of course. Please take a seat. Commander Yui Nishimura is about 10 years older than me, and could have easily been the captain for this mission. I have read her record, and it seems she just had some bad luck with her missions, never being too important to have been noticed by her supervisors. Just before this mission, she was promoted to the commander rank. Maybe I was helping a little bit with it, but I would never tell her.
Captain, it was risky not to comply at first and to try to fool these pirates. But I have to say, it was a challenge that the crew mastered as a team. You stayed very calm.
She was at the bridge all the time, managing damage reports while I tried to work out this ambitious plan. Thank you, Commander. But we still don't know if they were pirates. Intel will have to find out. The crew did a great job on day 1. Oh yeah. Not every day has to be like this, but it's a good feeling to rely on everybody.
We have to make changes to the power system so that it won't happen again in the future.
I'm there with you. You will oversee the changes made and report them back to me. Anything else?
No, sir. I'm looking forward to working with you.
The rest of our flight to Ganymede goes without interruption, and we will be able to gather our last crew members just a little later than thought. I even have a chance to take a look at the message from my parents. Just like I said, they're wishing me all the best, and my mom mentioned she met someone called Pika or Pico, whom she had secretly said to store something underneath my bed. Oh well, Mom, what is it now? Looking underneath my bed, there's a small box. I open it and see a small holo projector that shows my family at our last Christmas we had together. My mom is always worried I will forget about them. That day, even my sister came to visit. Immediately I start to record a thank you letter that will be sent back to Earth at Ganymede Station. The holo gets a prominent place on my desk, being the only private piece on it. I can't wait for all the new discoveries we will make in the next months. This is Michael, aka Captain Collins. Thank you so much for listening to my first episode of Astraea. I hope you had a lot of fun. There will be more episodes throughout this year, a total of 12, and you can find them also as a written version on spaceoperationsdelta.com. And if you want to send in some fan art, you can send some in per email at fanart@spaceoperationsdelta.com. If you would like to support me voluntarily, you can do that by going to my Patreon or even at YouTube/Captain Collins, where you can find more videos and stuff that I did. Thank you so much and see you at Ganymede. Crew dismissed.